Good morning, everyone. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. On behalf of the EU Switch Asia program and our partners, the GCNP, I would like to welcome you all to this morning's event. I'm Grace Santos. I'm one of the experts supporting the work of ACEBA here in the ASEAN region, in particular here in the Philippines. In partnership with our country lead for the Philippines, the Cebu Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Incidentally, we were with the CCCI yesterday for the first circular economy for business training that we had in Cebu City. And now we're here today to formally launch another partnership, this time with the Global Compact Network Philippines. The ACEBA is one of the initiatives supported by the European Union under the EU Switch Asia program. And here with us today is Mr. Mark Ugemer. He's the head of cooperation of the delegation of the European Union of the Philippines. And as our main partner and supporter for this event, we would like to, and for this project, we would like to invite Mr. Gemmer to say a few words on behalf of the EU delegation to the Philippines. Mr. Gemmer?
Thank you, and thanks for making your way back from Cebu. So I know that Francesca was also there. Wow, I look young. Yeah, but now it works. I understand there's a lot of colleagues online, so greetings to everyone here and to the colleagues online. Today is about you. Today is about ACEBA, and I have to pick GCNP. Been here only 1.5 years, so everything has an acronym. I'm not good at it, so I'm picking the acronyms. So I think we are here today for for signing your partnership. But of course, as you can see, it's also a little bit about us, and maybe to just explain why we are supporting these kind of activities, especially of the private sector in the field of circular economy. Switch Asia has been around for some 20 years, huh? Is it? Well, I look at Francesca because we worked on that 20 years ago together, and she still is. And I think that came because the European Union has supported strengthening country systems around the world. Circular economy was very high on the agenda in many emerging economies. But the world has changed. There was the understanding that we have to work better with the private sector in order to achieve not only at that time the MDGs, now SDGs, but we also need to have the knowledge and the financing of the private sector. Otherwise, we will not be able to achieve these globally agreed targets. Something is flashing there. Oh, yeah. So I'm hybrid. And I think it's not a secret that we will not achieve the climate targets, the climate ambitions. We will not achieve the SDGs without the financing, the knowledge, the drive of the private sector. This is exactly what Switch Asia is supporting. Now, as we are in the Philippines, of course, I take the opportunity to promote what we are doing to externalize the European Green Deal. And we want to increase the circularity of our economy from 12 to 24% in the coming decade. But we have a very strong partnership here in the Philippines under Global Gateway. Global Gateway is the European Union strategy to create strong, trusted partnerships with partner countries. And as such, in 2023, our European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen was here in Manila. And together with President Marcos Jr., they launched the Green Economy Partnership. We put up front 60 million euros in grants in order to launch the Green Economy Partnership. We work under the leadership of DENR, Department of Environment and Natural Resources. So I've been here long enough to know that acronym. But we also work with the Department of Interior and Local Government to roll out the very good legislative background that the Philippines has to the local government unit level. We are working with the Department of Trade and Industry to promote also PPPs at local level, to support MSMEs at local level. Here we need to de-risk the different investments because there's a lot of good ideas in the private sector, in municipalities, the LGUs. However, very often circularity, circular economy is not very high on the agenda. But this is a global phenomenon. So this is where we are developing local financing mechanisms, products for the private sector to invest, or for the private sector to go into a PPP with a local government unit. And a lot of investment is needed. The landfills in the Philippines have reached about 90% capacity. So we are focusing our work on solid waste, on waste management, not only solid, but waste management. And this is where there's more and more understanding. Something has to happen and investment has to come. And the investment can not only be done by the public sector. Hence, we are supporting these MSMEs active in the area. We are looking into European technologies, how it can be rolled out. There's Philippine technologies. There's a lot of Philippine members in the European Chamber of Commerce. So we are trying to work in this partnership to make sure that waste management at local level will come with some good examples. And here we're also working with the local government units in a mayor's fellowship program. So we started with the 10 LGUs that were most advanced. This includes, not a big surprise, Baguio City, Mayor Benji. And now the other mayors can learn, how did you do it? How did you put circularity, waste management into your local planning? Baguio City, for example, we have Quezon City, we have Pasig City. No big surprises, but to come with a positive narrative, it's important to showcase how it works. And this is where some local government units need support, learn from the ones that already implement. Of course, you cannot compare, we have Ormoc in there, Del Carmen. You cannot compare the city of Del Carmen with the city of Quezon. I mean, the waste amount, the investment, private sector is different. But to start on the planning of a local circular economy plan, to budget it, to look into how it can be financed, because any plan without financing will not work out. This is what we are doing. So I invite you, please follow the opportunities, especially the representatives of the private sector on we have a website, greeneconomy.ph, but you can also use an internet search engine, you will get there. And there will be more opportunities because we need more agreements. And this is why I'm very happy that we are here today to witness the agreement between, now I have to pick the acronyms, ACEBA and GCNP. That's important. So there's other initiatives where we can see how you can come in with this partnership. Maybe from other partners. You know, we have a lot of like-minded partners that are working in the field of the green economy here in the country. And any progress is good, because any progress will support all of us achieving the SDGs, the circular economy challenge here in the Philippines and elsewhere. There is a lot of cooperation between the Philippines lined up for this year in the ASEAN chairship context. So the Department of Environment and Natural Resources will have dedicated events towards circular economy. So we hope to see a lot of the private sector and public sector representatives present there. And I think we are very happy. And I don't have to tell you more about Switch Asia because you know it better than me, that Switch Asia was able to support the events in Cebu, a lot of the discussion, facilitate. So a lot of thanks to the co-conveners and the experts in Switch Asia, but especially the partners of today. So now it's about you again. This is important. This is for the development of the country. This will create opportunities. This will help also creating opportunities while respecting circular economy. I will not tell you about the taxonomy work we are doing to make sustainable investments more aligned with the national framework. You will find all of this on greeneconomy.ph, and I hand back over to our moderator. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Gemmer. We have been engaging in ACEBA, actively engaging the Green Economy Partnership Project as well as the European Chamber of Commerce and Industry. We've had them in a number of our webinars and our activities in ACEBA. So thank you very much again for your support. To speak more about ACEBA and our work in the region, not only in the Philippines, is one of the co-conveners of ACEBA, Mr. Thomas Thomas. He is also the founder and chairman of ARIBA SDN PhD and was formerly head of the ASEAN CSR network. So maybe welcome Mr. Thomas Thomas.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. Let me acknowledge Ms. Ma Victoria Tan, the chairperson of GCNP, Marcus, and Francisca from the UN, the EU, D, you know, getting into thanks for your sponsorships that made these things possible. So I think it's right that we had word from you. I also want to acknowledge my co-convener, Dr. Rene Van Berken, and all the speakers, especially all those who are online. Thank you very much for taking time to come. It's a great pleasure for me to come back to look at Global Compact. My work started many years ago, more than 15 years ago, when I took pushed on Singapore, and one of my first initiatives was to start the Global Compact Network there and be participating on it. So I was quite happy to come back and recollect the revival of Global Compact in Philippines and to see this. So let me just share with you a little bit on where and how we are here today and where. Okay, just to let you know that ARIBA, okay, we started, our roots was in ASEAN CSR Network. ASEAN CSR Network is an ASEAN entity responsible for promoting responsible business within ASEAN, and we work with Philippines. Together with the ASEAN Business Advisory Council, we developed a code on responsible and inclusive business. The idea actually started 10 years ago, and it was formally approved things. And then in 2023, I met Zinaida. Zinaida and Rene has participated in the activities of ASEAN CSR Network. They brought most of the expertise and has booked. So we talked about supporting to promote businesses in mobilizing business for circular economy as a project. And but ASEAN CSR Network has already transited to ARIBA. Syndicate Berhad means Private Limited. It's an organization in Malaysia because Singapore had its constraints. And I think we also found that the word CSR was connoted with philanthropy, charity. And while we were saying that social responsibility is not how you spend money, but how did you make that money? Did you make yourself rich by making other people poorer? So that is the concept. So we have taken it, and we are still part of the ASEAN Business Advisory Council and promoting this. The EU Switchbook Asia program has been, yes, almost 19 years around, and they have two prongs of doing it. One is a grants project, and the other one is a policy support component. And we work, and this policy support component has worked on a lot of technical advisories on a wide range of subjects, including sustainable procurement, green financing, circular economy, knowledge platforms, and many things. Go to their websites. It's interesting reading. So now let me come a little bit more on ARIBA, which is our ASEAN. Next slide, please. We have, based on it, ARIBA, we came up with 7 principles and 7 subject areas. The principles are very common with from OECD, UN Global Compact principles, the ISO 26000 on accountability, transparency, ethical behavior, respect for stakeholder, rule of law, and others. And we have also 7 subject areas. The idea of these subject areas are quite familiar. Next slide. It's also tied very closely with also Global Compact principles on the main areas of human rights, labor, environment, and anti-corruption. It's also tied with ISO 26000, OECD guidelines. We did a lot of work behind the scenes to persuade the then 10 ASEAN countries, business groups, to agree on something which businesses can do, which is also global standards. So with these actors and what we stand for, let me just go on to the next slide on the genesis of ACEBA. When we first started ACEBA, we had it for Cambodia, Indonesia, Philippines, Thailand, and Vietnam. We did a series of dialogues, getting engagement to get from stakeholders. Global Compact Network was involved in many of these networks, and we came up with 3 things. The purpose was to arrive at a common understanding and also analyze and uncover cases of circular economy in Asia, and also try to engage businesses to take the next, bring the ambition forward. And for the next place, for the arriving at a common understanding, we arrived at a framework on what should be the business action, the principles. We agreed on 5 principles, and for analyzing and can you just go on the next slide? There's some more parts there. Finally, we have developed 88 case studies of 8 countries, and we have now launched ACEBA. Next slide, please. And ACEBA was launched on July 2024. The tall guy on the right is the EU ambassador to ASEAN. Then that's me and Renee. We are the co-conveners, and Zinaida, leader of Switch Asia. The other co-convener is Mr. Gil Gonzalez, who used to be the executive director of the ASEAN Business Advisory Council. So that was launched. We were supported by the ASEAN Coordinating Committee for Micro, Small, and Medium-Sized Enterprises and the ASEAN Secretariat. So next slide. The key part is this, that this is ASEAN-centric and business-led, and we want to contribute to the ASEAN 2021 ASEAN Circular Economy Framework and national strategies of each of the countries. And the participants of ACEBA will pledge to lead by example in the adoption of circular economy. We will provide them the visibility, the voice for the participating companies. We document, showcase good business examples and innovative solutions, facilitate learning and sharing among companies, and also promote operational tools and metrics, etc. Yesterday, we shared one of those metric tools in Cebu. Next slide, please. Okay, we have got 3 level of participants. One is participants, which is companies that commit to a pledge that quite similar to the Global Compact pledge, that they will commit to continuous improvement and circularity, report on the progress, and participate and contribute. Then in each of the countries that we are experimenting, we have country leads. For Philippines, it's the Cebu Chamber of Commerce. And they coordinate with the Philippine Chamber of Commerce, and they're trying to build a network. So, and similarly, we have in Indonesia, Kadin, and in Thailand is the Thai Environmental Institute. The regional hub is the coordinating role of the regional and the practices will be done by AREBA. Okay, a little bit on, next slide, A little bit on ACEBA Philippines. The country lead is the Cebu Chamber. We have done about a workshop with them last year, and we did the signing. We have so far done 2 webinars, and yesterday we did a training session with them. With Global Compact Philippines, we're trying to do a call for action so that your members can do circularity, and we also hope that other businesses will live up to a responsible, inclusive business principles on responsible business. And what we hope to do is compile more case studies. Because one of the things that initially some people had the idea is that this is a Western idea, this is a Japanese idea, this is not really Southeast Asian. But if you really look at it, Southeast Asia traditionally, we have been very circular in many of our activities and ways. And a lot of our companies have also been doing it. So it's a case of uncovering these experiences, these examples. And by creating a network, we can also do an advocacy to see where are what could be the enablers for bringing these things up. And going forward, we also will be doing a Change Makers program in March. And to be, if the EU supports it, we'll have also an accelerator program. And next, please. Okay. So this partnership launched today is to accelerate, it's a call for action. It's for us to accelerate the circular economy in the business. And when you do this circular economy in business, you're also advancing the Global Compact 10 principles, especially the principles on environment, on so responsibilities. So what we would do, we will collaborate to develop and promote circular economy business cases. We will co-organize activities, dialogue, learning opportunities, and expect business participation, both in Global Compact Philippines as well in ACEBA. So my last slide, and doing time, is to say this is how you can join. I hope all the companies who are watching online, yes, you can join, find out more about ACEBA, and join us, scan it, you get case studies, and learn more of us. On that note, I thank you, and I look forward to the partnership with Global Compact Network Philippines and the support from the EU as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Thomas. And again, we are looking forward, ACEBA is looking forward to further expanding our work with our partnership with the GCNP, of course, and also getting more GCNP members on board the Alliance. So we will now hear from our partners, the Global Compact Network Philippines. With us today is the chairperson of the Board of Trustees of GCN Philippines, and also the head of the Group Risk Management and Sustainability of Ayala Corporation. May we now welcome Ms. Maria Victoria Tan to speak more about the GCNP and their circularity initiatives.
Magandang umaga. Good morning, everyone. Thank you. Hi, I need energy. Thank you. Thank you, Marco and Thomas, for setting the tone for our conversation today. I'm excited about the 60 million euros that you will be giving to the country. Is that correct? Is that the right number? I spent already, so I think we need allocations, another allocations. But thank you for investing and helping us through with the technicalities of the green economy. It is something that we are all looking forward to because it will also create jobs for the SMEs and those in the other localities. Thank you, Thomas, for walking us through with how you develop ACEBA from the ASEAN CSR network. That's a lot of work. You know, for all of you, I have seen Thomas the last time before COVID in Singapore. At that time, you were still with the ASEAN CSR network. And so it's I think one of the pillars in the CSR world, and right now he is making us follow him in the circularity economy world. Thank you, Thomas, for also mapping the responsible and inclusive business principles that you have with the 10 principles of the Global Compact. And on that note, I guess we have a shared understanding, shared values, and shared leadership for this particular task ahead of us. But first, I want to acknowledge partners, colleagues, and friends present today. Dr. Rene Van Berkel, I last saw him in New York 15 months ago. That's my recollection is correct, and that was the start of the discussion around ACEBA. And of course, my good friend here, Leo and Ana Lagon of Bayo, Leah Magallanes of SM Hotels, Leah, and Lily Puentes of Pilax, and of course the other trustees of the Global Compact Network. And to everyone participating online, thank you for taking the time. I think that's a long introduction because I was so fascinated with the work of Marco, things like money to me, and of course from Thomas. Now, we're here today to formalize the than the individual organization themselves. Okay. I think I have some slides. In 2025, 12,000 tons every single day. That's almost 800 garbage trucks going to the Metro Manila network. And so that's, aside from the waste, there's a lot of traffic because of that. And that is only in the NCR. I'm sure everyone has heard statistics like this before. So what's different now? It's the urgency. Globally, only 18% of the SDGs are on track. And here in the Philippines, the gap between policy and implementation is widening while the waste keeps piling up. Everyone needs to work together to develop solutions at the pace and scale needed to tackle these complex problems, from the private sector, the government, civil society, and to the individuals. We need everyone at the table. GCNP has been building that table since 2017 in the Philippines, and today's partnership with ACEBA is about expanding it further. For those new to our network, the Global Compact Network Philippines is a country network of the UN Global Compact, the world's largest corporate sustainability initiative with over 20,000 business participants across 167 countries. The Global Compact operates on a simple premise: business can be a force for good. We anchor companies in 10 principles spanning human rights, labor, environment, and anti-corruption. When integrated into operations, these principles become pathways to the SDGs. Circular economy is one practical way to operationalize the SDGs and the 10 principles of the UN Global Compact. It addresses water scarcity, climate change, waste reduction, and ecosystems health through a single shift, designing waste out of the system and keeping resources in use longer. It drives progress across multiple SDGs at once: decent work and economic growth, responsible consumption and production, climate action, protecting life below water and on land. I think that one is not working. I'm not so sure. Is it? Is it? Thank you. Here in the Philippines, the policy frameworks are taking shape. We have bills on the circular economy at both houses. We have been implementing the Extended Producers Responsibility Act, where covered entities are mandated to recover packaging materials at a rate of 20% in 2023 to 80% in 2028. And Philippine companies across hospitality, construction, agri-food, retail, and recycling are testing circular models and finding what works. Marco, you mentioned about the Solid Waste Management Act, and yes, we have that. And that was a bill that passed into a law in the year 2000. That created the commission, the Solid Waste Management Commission, and mandates everyone to segregate waste. I think that's where we fail, right? I believe that until now, the support infrastructure hasn't kept pace. For example, materials recovery facilities exist, but aren't always accessible, or residents don't know their barangays have one. Unilever, one of GCNP's participants, had a program to encourage its customers to collect and segregate waste. They worked with junk shops, incentivizing households to segregate waste, reaching over 400 barangays. But initiatives like this can't be sustained or scaled by one company alone. They need to become shared practice, shared learning, and shared infrastructure. Businesses have the intent, but not always the resources and practical tools. Companies are learning through trial and error, often in isolation from each other. There is a gap between intention to act and the systems that would help them succeed. This partnership between GCNP and ACEBA won't fully close the gap, but we can create the space where companies share what's working, where your challenges become case studies, where your wins become the roadmap for the next company. What you're figuring out today informs how current and future leaders approach the circular economy. What that means in practice is this: more resources available to support companies in their circularity journey, more opportunities to learn from peers, more ways to connect your sustainability commitments to concrete action. For those exploring how to move further on circularity, this creates an entry point. And if you want to learn more, please scan the QR code in the presentation. Remember where we started: 4.34 million tons of waste, 800 garbage trucks daily just in Metro Manila. That scale of challenge requires companies leading together, learning from each other, as Marco mentioned, building the playbook that others can follow. That's what this partnership enables. So, let's get to work. Thank you and maraming salamat.
Thank you, Miss Vicky. Miss Vicky has been very quite active, and we see her all the time during our events. Maraming salamat po for again making this happen finally with ACEBA. So before we move on to the highlight of our event today, which is the signing of the Memorandum of Agreement between ACEBA and GCNP. Can you give us around 2 minutes to just set up the tables for the MOA signing, and then we will come back again online after 2 minutes. All right. So may we now come back online as well. So we are now at the segment of our program where we will have ACEBA and GCNP principals sign the Memorandum of Agreement between the two organizations. May we ask Ms. Vicky to also join us here up front? Also joining them here in front is Mr. Edward Diocosana of GCNP. All right. Oh, yeah. We'll just cover the projection screen. There you go. So we are now witnessing the principals of both organizations signing our MOA. Are we done? Okay, so may we ask? So I think we're done. So can we give everyone a round of applause and we'll have a photo. Okay, let's have a photo first with all the principals. All right, so congratulations to everyone. It's now finally official. Yes, from New York. And now it's finally official. So, yes. So again, thank you to the principals of both organizations. And as I've mentioned before, we are equally excited as GCNP to move this partnership forward and do more collaborative activities together. So our next speaker is also one of the co-conveners of ACEBA, Dr. Rene Van Berkel. He's also a senior expert of the EU Switch Asia Policy Support Component, an international faculty member of Thammasat University, and a member of the International Resource Panel. So may we now call on Dr. Rene Van Berkel to speak more about circular economy for responsible business.
Thank you very much for the kind introduction, and indeed, Vicky, it's nice to see this after we met occasionally over a coffee in New York and then started to chat about what at the Global Compact meeting or what could we do on the circular economy, and I mentioned, oh, we just launched this ACEBA, and Vicky said, that's interesting, let's try to find out, and now we are here. So thank you very much. I think personal connections are also still very important to get things moving, but we move beyond that, and we're very pleased to see this. So can I have the slides presentation? So I want to speak a little bit about this connection between circular economy and responsible business and share a little bit of the richness of the experiences which we also have uncovered here already in the Philippines and elsewhere in Southeast Asia. And I'm very pleased to see also some of the representatives from some of the companies here that we will showcase. So next slide, please. can you just click 2 more times, then we have the whole slide. So I think that there is Thomas spoke about the issue that we have a circular economy, but circular economy means very different things to different people. And that's a bottleneck for progressing. And it's also a source for greenwashing and skepticism, which we see. And therefore we see that there is sort of a sense we need to move away from take, make, use and throw away to something which is more circular. But we define circular economy as the opposite of linear economy. And if I just say linear economy is a point somewhere, then the opposite could be on the top, on the bottom, on the left, on the right, and that's the reason for confusion. So that's also with Switch Asia, which we try to address, and with ACEBA. So next slide, please. So we see that this is partially caused by the fact that we have these different perspectives from which circular economy came. So we have what we will now refer to as the ecosystem metaphor, which is basically what the Ellen MacArthur Foundation is saying. So can we just copy and paste what is happening in nature into industrial systems? So in nature, nothing goes to waste. Where we get to circular economy principles as avoiding waste, recycle at the highest level, and regenerate nature. Then we have very well established in the Rio Declaration already in 1992 the precautionary principle, which is essentially saying that if there's a risk, potential risk, we should not do it. We should avoid that risk of aversion. And that has led us to the 3R principles: reduce, reuse, recycle. And that is now being extended to 9R principles. And I've even seen versions with a 60R principle. So I think it's also become a little bit of an art of real differentiation, not necessarily that useful. Then we have the circular business models, which is taking the approach of the value hill, as they say. So basically, if iron ore is in the soil, it's not worth much. Once it's ore out of the soil, it's more worth. Then it's steel, it's even more worth. It becomes a car, it's the highest value. And we scrap the car, all the value lost. So we want to kind of keep that there. And then we get to these circular business models, which speak about slowing material cycles, narrowing them, so using less, but also closing them and regenerate their nature. So these are the elements there. And then the decoupling principle is basically promoted by the International Resources Panel, which I'm also contributing to now, is saying that we basically need to do more with less. So we need to produce more economic output, more value with less environmental impact, less resource uses, and we add now also for more benefit for the people. So it's also about finding out efficiency in consumption, that we are happy with less material resources. So that's there. So next slide, please. Next slide. And two more clicks, I think. One more. So we see then now circular economy much more as an umbrella concept. So it includes some elements which people have been doing for a long time, like eco-design, resource efficiency, eco-efficiency, and it includes some new elements on closing loops. But the ultimate aim is quite clear that we basically want to zero out the net inflow of virgin resources. And I'd say resources because it's not only materials, it's also energy and water. And we want at the same time to also zero out the net outflow of wasted resources into the environment. And this is basically, it's worded slightly different than in the ISO 59004 standard, which came out in 2024. But it's very much commensurate with that ambition stipulated there, even though the language is more complicated there. But it applies to materials and non-material resources. I put there water, energy, but you could also look at that land and at nature, how we use that. And basically we have three main objectives or strategies by which we can do it. It's either closing, so circularity, so keeping materials, energy, water in loops, in perpetual loops, through efficiency, which is doing more with less, but that also includes using things longer, because if we use things longer, it becomes efficiency. It's like two sides of the same coin. And this notion of substitution, so maximizing the potential of renewable materials, renewable energy in processes. So you could see that these resource management strategies become kind of an innovation angle towards achieving the circular product value chain, where basically net inflows and net outflows are minimized. Next slide. So two more clicks. We came, and Thomas mentioned that, we came as a framework because we think that ambition matters. I've said for circular economy, we have to do it with intent and integrity. Otherwise, we are not making enough progress. So we've done that with, after much consultations right around the place, and there's some disagreements and some strong endorsement, but there's a sense of that this is about right, that it's about 5 guiding principles. The first one is to really say, why do we do this? And it's because we need to address materials use as the root cause for the triple planetary crisis. So materials cause 60% of the greenhouse gas emission, 90% of biodiversity loss, and I think 40% of air pollution. So we need to address materials use, and that's for net zero for climate, net zero for nature, net zero for environment. Then the second one is, how do we do that? That's basically by doing resources or materials and other resources circularly, efficiently, and substitution to renewables. The third one is, and that's, I must acknowledge my friend, co-convener Thomas, it is very much an element of responsible business. So if we go ISO 26000 and other standards, they all say it's about taking into consideration the responsibility for the impacts of the organization and its activities on society and the environment. If you design a product, you decide what materials are going in there, and that impacts on how circular economy is being achieved. So you can maybe not cover everything, but it clearly is a responsibility. The fourth one is maybe the least contended, is to say that in many cases we do circular economy by innovation. We need, it's not about waste management, but it's about circular products and services and circular business processes. So we have to design this, and often this requires new partnerships. So ideation and co-creation, and it's innovation which is not always the latest science or technology, but it's in many cases in agriculture, for example, we see cases emerging where it's just traditional knowledge being reinvigorated with current science to come up with solutions for climate-smart rice farming, for example. And if you take the 4 first ones, you say, oh, this is just environment. We say, no, this is taking an environmental lens to deliver ultimately also economic and social benefits. And let's be honest, everything we do right now to mitigate climate emissions is going to be big savings tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. So that's clearly there. So in the conversation with Global Compact Network, we have also said at the global level, it is like doing responsible business, taking an environmental lens as a starting point. Next slide, please. So this matters for the SDGs, and for the SDGs, Vicky showed it also, there's now much more emphasis on 6 transitions which are there. And for 3 transitions, circular economy is very important. So we talk about climate, biodiversity, and pollution. It's clearly there. We address the root cause. The food systems reform with regenerative agriculture and reducing food waste, addressing consumption systems, and the increased efficiency of use and other materials. Many people have now argued that the energy transition is a misnomer. It's basically a materials transition also. And we changed the whole set of the economy from a flow of fossil fuels to a stock of critical materials that will give us energy. So it's very much linked to that. Then digital transformation, education systems, so I say there's some contributions, but maybe less important. Food, energy, environment. Next slide, please. So maybe also click 4 times. Thomas mentioned it. Basically, I think the main entry point is that it contributes to the environment principle. So advancing net zero climate emissions, elimination of waste and pollution, regeneration of nature and biodiversity. But we have also now, since 2023, I think, or 2, we have the globally recognized human right for a clean, safe, and sustainable, clean, healthy, and sustainable environment. So having a clean environment is just a human right. So also there, it's really basically around this. If we speak about circular economy, we talk about eliminating hazardous materials, eliminating hazardous workplaces. So it clearly contributes maybe not to labor organization, but certainly to occupational health and safety there. And I think let's also face it, environmental non-compliance and other non-compliances are a big cause for bribery. So if you don't comply, you have to bribe your way out. So if we drive compliance and beyond compliance, we take major steps on anti-corruption. So next one, please. So I want to just give a few examples of how this works. So some of the examples from the Philippines. So Converge ICT, which I think is also a member of Global Compact here. So they do collection, refurbishment, and repurposing of customer devices. So if your modem is no longer good enough for you, you want a higher plan, you bring it back to them, they refurbish or check whether it's fine, and then they send it back to the next customer, and also power units and related ones. They use geothermal power in the Clark data center and in the headquarters, and they do some plastic recycling with the community initiative. So this works for business, so they have 23% share of recycled or refurbished customers' devices. Already in 22, they saved then 31 million pesos. Of the returned materials, 43% can be repurposed, 57% is then recycled, and they have, of course, greenhouse gas emissions avoidance with geothermal. And with the repurposing of some of the tarpaulins from communication events, they create opportunities for community to make bags and so on, so maybe a smaller one. Next slide, please. So this whole SIM, also a member of Global Compact globally, they work clearly on the introduction of blended cements with up to 20% clinker substitution by slags and fly ash. Used then almost 940,000 tons of refuse-derived fuel, so it's plastics and other waste that can be replaced coal and fuel oil. And they have done rainwater harvesting, water efficiency, recovery measures. So huge cost savings, product diversification, so new markets, new opportunities, and significant increases of the production capacity. So it's not quantified, but it's not just a few percent, it runs in double-digit % of production increase. And then, of course, they have a huge diversion of waste from landfilling, and they halved the freshwater consumption just in 22. And then the new income opportunity for some of the local government units which work with them. So its community is clearly there. So next one, I think that's my comparable case. We have also Cemex, but we have been taken over and for SBI in Indonesia. Precious Plastics here in the Philippines is on the other end of the scale. It's basically manufacturing small-scale, appropriate plastics recycling equipment, which can then support community recycling initiatives. So you collect plastics, you shred, and you compress it into basically boards, kind of alternative to fiberboard or so. And with these boards, you can make furniture and other items. So they have, and they do then product development with the groups, and they basically have a network of a couple of dozen recycling centers now here. So it's new plastic products made from mixed recycled plastics. They sell the recycling machine, and they are also now attracting some EPR fees as a source of income. And this plastic waste diversion is quite clear, and this is clearly more social oriented on livelihood creation opportunities. We have several similar cases, ton to ton in Cambodia, Robias in Indonesia. They're the same but different, as they say in Thailand, so they may be focusing slightly different, but the same principle is quite scalable as well. So this is quite interesting. Next slide. It shows all the cases which we have on the table is a sheet which summarizes them. So we have case from agri-food, cement, furniture is in the room, handicrafts, hospitality, resource recovery, services, and then textile and garments is also in the room. Bio is here as well, so very pleased with that. So please look at this. These are examples that show that there is a diversity of the applications of circular economy concepts to different sectors. It's valid, it moves on there. Next slide, please. I think we emphasize that there is a circular economy is primary for business benefits. So many of these opportunities are basically about using materials, energy, and water more efficiently. And these have become more expensive. So if you save on expensive things, that improves the bottom line. We see new business opportunities. Maybe we see that with low carbon cement. We see that elsewhere companies have biotechnology and create now new materials which are for the bioeconomy, circular economy. So new business opportunities are there. And let's face it, some of the companies are also seeing that there's an end to some of the industries. So fast fashion is expected to decline. So we clearly see companies which are big in that sector starting to realize that we need to get better bandwagon. This will not disappear if we hide under the table. And then in our framework with ACEBA, and I should also mention the knowledge products, we are saying that it's for business to do well, while at the same time doing good for society and the planet. So it's doing well as a company while doing good for society and the environment. Next slide, please. So we have also looked a little bit at what appears to drive success, and we didn't do a full strategy analysis. That was a bit lost there. But I think that the companies which we have profiled, they all have a strong sense of purpose, of a kind of magnetic north. So they understand how the business is related to sustainability initiatives and have a vision on where they want to go. I think all of them embrace innovation, so looking at new opportunities. Innovation, as I mentioned before, sometimes it's traditional knowledge, sometimes it's science and technology, so it depends on the sector. So embracing innovation and using knowledge. And the last point I always emphasize, it's also about entrepreneurialism. So it's nice to talk about opportunities, but until we have an entrepreneur, someone who would take calculated risk, who shows persuasion, leadership, and things won't happen. So we need to also nurture the capabilities of MSMEs, not to just say, I do what I'm told, but I will create an opportunity, I will chase this, and I will deliver this. I won't stop until I won't give up, the kind of mentality. And these are, as we see then, assets for dealing with some of the challenges which clearly are there. There are challenges in markets, there are challenges with technology, challenges with financing. But these challenges are for all companies, and some companies succeed to still move ahead. So these challenges can be addressed if you have a strong sense of purpose, entrepreneurialism, and so on. So moving forward on this, next slide, please. We came up with a framework. I'll show there a guide for unlocking circularity opportunity, and we are kind of moving a little bit away from the fact that there would be a one-size-fits-all roadmap. It doesn't seem to be that way. So some companies need to learn, others are strategy driven. So we propose a kind of a framework or menu for companies to take action on, and that needs to include take stock of what is happening, what are the risks and opportunities for your business on circularity. So basically, where are we? How is our business at risk? Where could be opportunities for our technology, our markets, and so on? So get there. And then the second point, and this we lean heavily on the Global Compact, is saying that we should not just focus on targets which we can achieve next year, but we should first of all clear our ambition. So focus on ambition, what is circular economy ambition, and what are then pathways to achieving this. So if we just get stuck in next year's targets or next quarter targets, we tend to be very incremental and not looking at the bigger picture. And if we open the opportunities, we can find the innovations which are much better there. Then we speak about delivery or implementation, and in terms of delivery, we clearly say, companies, please look for dual track approach. So the first track is to just copy and paste what others have done, so learn from what others have done and see what you can do. People have changed to renewable materials, to energy efficiency. Can you apply that? And that is basically adapting. But the real challenge and the real opportunity is, of course, to pivot into new products and services. So what can your company do to say, oh, I want to be a leadership in, say, circular jeans or circular cement, and what would that take, and how can we carry that? So a little bit of peering around and knowledge sharing on what others are doing, and on the other hand saying, I can do more in that sense. And then the last point is more or less the integration part, which is the management systems, the governance systems, the business model which are there. Some businesses can easily start quick with some quick wins and would start with delivery and then come back to what is our circularity risk. Others would say we start with a risk management framework and then move on there. So that's all what we are, and that's also what we in the training yesterday in Cebu were discussing and would like to discuss also with Global Compact Network. Next slide, please. So maybe click a few more times. I think people are saying you do circular economy for value creation. That's clearly where we say start now with things which are easy to do. So if you need a new boiler, buy one which is energy efficient or which can be maybe also fed by biomass as an alternative, or electric. Design products with minimum packaging. Much of the packaging can be reduced. Look at recycled materials or recovered materials. Then we say pivot into the future, look at what can your company do as a lighthouse on the circular jeans or the circular cement, or where can you lead by example? And then also, and I think that's it's a bad motivation, but also be risk management, avoid being left behind. The circular economy transition has started and it will continue to go, despite some people trying desperately to push on the pause button. Pause button doesn't exist. So we need to move forward. So clean your spectacles, move ahead. So then I think my last slide, next please, is reiterating that please join, and reiterating also that we have quite a number of knowledge resources which are all available from the website. So in terms of knowledge resources, we have this set of business cases. I think the number stands at 88 right now, but I have a few in the pipeline, so we will soon hit 100, which is diverse around the different sectors. We have this framework document, which is more about the strategy, which you can communicate with CEOs and others to work on. And then we have this implementation guide, which is more like the nuts and bolts, if I may say so, from how can you get started, how can we get traction in our organization to start moving. And I really look forward to work with Edward, Vicky, the others of the Global Compact Network Philippines to drive this forward as a call to action, that we move forward, more businesses leading on the circular economy for the Philippines. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Rene. And as he mentioned during his presentation earlier, all our resources and all information about ACEBA and the business cases that you saw in his presentation are all on our website. It's www.aceba.co. So you can check that out. Everything is on our website. So, I mean, we invited three of them today to be here with us to share their circular innovations as well as circular model development for their respective businesses. One of them is Bio Manila. And with us today is Ms. Ana Lagon. She's the co-CEO of Bio Manila and also the Vice President for membership of GCNP. So may we now hear from Ms. Ana about the circular economy experience of Bio.
Thank you. Let me just fix my props to deliver tangible results, right? So yeah, good morning and thank you for all those information. It actually feels so good that there were a lot of validations coming from how things should be done. And I'm like, at the back of my head, I'm saying, okay, check, 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 right? So very inspiring and very, like it's adding motivation to us to continue what we do. But of course, first of all, thank you to the ASEAN Circular Economy Business Alliance for this invitation and for creating this platform for us to show real practice-based circular economy. And of course, to our European Union, to the Philippines team for fueling the circular business practices through the Green Economy Program. I will not miss this to acknowledge my colleagues at the Global Compact Network Philippines. The team is complete from the secretariat team to our officers, of course. Very much honored to serve this organization, championing the role of businesses, including SMEs, which we belong in advancing sustainability. So to share about Bio, we are a Filipino and proud fashion company, and we have been in the industry for more than 30 years now. We belong in a highly intensive, resource-intensive industry, and so that made us rethink how do we go from here. Maybe later on I can share to you why, but let me just focus on my presentation because I have a 10-minute limit. So we do work within real constraints, you know, the cost pressures, the supply chain volatility, and the realities of a developing economy. Our decision to pursue circular economy was not driven by branding. It came from necessity and responsibility to remain viable as a business and relevant in a changing world. What I'll share today is our lived experience, how circular economy is embedded in our vision, targets, and business strategies, and how it now delivers value for business performance, people, and the planet. Next, please. At Bio, circular economy is core to how we make decisions and not just a side initiative. Early on, we understood that sustainability, especially for an SME, cannot be done alone. So here you can see most of our partners and one potential partner I already added in anticipation, but I did ask permission. It's TESDA, because what we do in Bio is we also provide spaces for learning so that we can share what we do, and hopefully with that, we create as well sustainable livelihood programs. And the other partners, ECCP is here. We are also part of ECCP and the others. So our engagement with institutions like the Global Compact, of course, and with government and all those logos there, it's really, it allows us to move from intention to really implement, because we cannot do it alone. We can go to the next slide. This is our roadmap, the Journey to Zero initiative, our circular roadmap towards sustainability. So we began with clear internal targets. It's quite small, but if you look at it, it shows how materials are chosen from regenerative materials. We start from the farmers, support them so that we can get all those fibers in a responsible way. And then we create materials out of them. We also use recycled PET bottles as an alternative. And this process helped us create livelihoods along the way. So we practice what we preach about shared prosperity. In this process as well, we try to achieve to reduce textile waste. We started with zero waste. With that, we lower our environmental footprint, rethink sourcing and production, and over time, these targets evolved. This journey to zero was the point where we consciously moved away from a linear model to now a circular system. Our waste stopped being treated as loss, and it actually became resource. Local sourcing became a strategy, especially during the pandemic. Livelihood creation became part of the value chain. We are supporting a lot of communities, building through the support of our foundation. And here we can see that circular economy operates as a system, influencing the way we design, we source, we produce, and create partnerships. Next, please. Climate change has challenged us to design better. It started as a campaign. It's posted in all our bio stores. But I told our team, we will put that as long as the stickers are still there. You know, we don't want to remove it because really it's very challenging, and we want people to know that even if the challenge is there, you know, we really walk the talk. Because, you know, linear business models are high risk. That's a big realization already. And disruptive supply chains, also increasing material costs and environmental volatility made it clear that circularity is not just ethical, but also a strategic risk management. Designing better means designing for longevity, for regeneration, and for adaptability. Circular economy became a way to build business resilience, not just compliance. So as we progress on our journey to zero, we began to see its limits as well. But more importantly, its possibilities. Reducing waste was no longer enough. To advance our growth responsibly, we needed to close the loop. currently, we have two ways to close it. I don't have the sample, and I've shown this recycled textile waste mixed with plastic waste, and it creates tiles, boards, and it's an alternative to construction materials. And at the same time, we have another one that brings back the retazos. So here are my props. In production, right, we do a lot of cuttings. So these cuttings are small pieces, but now we're able to upcycle them back to, first to fiber, like this. So we disintegrate the fabric offcuts into this, and then to threads. And then we combine them together to produce fabrics again. So this is one of the, hopefully, I think we're very close to having funding for this. But I don't have the logo of the funder yet because it has not been official. But again, it's proving that partnerships are essential. We are an SME, we have limited resources, but we have bigger dreams. But with partners who believe that these solutions we create through the circular economy can actually provide opportunities. Imagine we don't have to import a lot, because if we make them locally available, then it solves the problem of higher cost. It can be costly at first, but if it's scaled up, imagine all the manufacturing companies here in the Philippines providing us with their offcuts. Then we create new fabrics out of it, livelihoods are generated, and it can recycle back again and again. So to us, closing the loop is a serious business. It's really an ambition that we had many years ago, but because potential support was in the horizon and we came to know about it, we presented our case, and good that we got their validation. So hopefully, the next time I see everybody, I'll be, telling you how scalability can respond to the cost. Because as of now, it's still high cost. I'm also using, I love to model my items, so it's an opportunity, right? So this is hand-woven, and it's available in all bio stores. But you see here, we used threads that have been put aside because most of them were used for another order. But you see how creativity can actually enhance a product. Because of the mixed colors of the yarns, it created a pattern that is unique to the collection that we have. But behind this are hand weavers, livelihoods created. And that's what makes our job inspiring, Okay, later I will cry. So, sorry, the next one is how TextRev actually came about. So the samples I've shown you, it's about textile revitalization, which is a partnership between DOST, Department of Science and Technology, and under PTRI, or the Philippine Textile Research Institute. I've already shared how it's done, and I've showed you the samples, but this one really closes the loop, at least for our industry. Fabric is applied not only to fashion, it can only be used for furnitures, right? Felix is here. Yeah, we need to talk. Also for upholstery, carpeting, and everywhere you go, there are fabrics. So imagine the potential of how this technology can be adopted. So after all of this, I wanted to share the impact of what we do. We have so many other projects, but 10 minutes really is not enough. So I thought maybe I can reshare a video that we presented, a testimonial directly from our communities. And this is the impact that is told many times over, but is really continuing to tell the story. It continues to create impact. So thank you for this opportunity.
When we started working with bio, many things has changed. We also experienced using sustainable materials, natural fibers, and textile offcuts.
Hindi ko na ipagpapalit sa trabaho ko dati. Kasi po, yung kinikita ko po sa Manila, ganun din naman po yung kinikita ko dito. Hindi ko na pinoproblema yung pang-araw-araw namin gastusin, pambili ng gamot ng asawa ko, tapos pang-dialysis.
In terms of production, we were able to stabilize our production for weavers that makes their income increase, and it also became efficient.
Ito kasing weaving, malaki yung naitutulong sa amin dahil kahit papano natatawid namin yung mga pangangailangan namin daily.
Dati, gipit na gipit kami, yung hirap po kami sa buhay noon. Nang napasama ko dito sa harvest, ang laking kaibahan.
Itong trabaho na to, nakatulong din po para makatapos po ako ng junior high school.
Mensahe ko sa mga kababaihan na gustong mag-hobby, lumabas sila at ipakita nila yung talento na meron sila para makita rin ng mundo na ang mga babae hindi lang pangtahanan, kundi may magagawa tayo para sa ating community, para sa economy natin, at yung pasensya natin bilang babae, doon lalong aangat, lalong magbubus yung ating pagkatao.
Nagpapasalamat po ako kay Miss Ana, kay Sir Leo, kasi po, sabi ko para silang anghel na padala ng langit.
Kung dati po, tumitingin tayo sa inspirasyon, ngayon gawin po natin na tayo naman po mag-inspirasyon para sa iba.
I am Gino.
Ako po si Mayra Gabriel.
Ako si Ana Laida, kasama ng aking pamilya.
I'm Lionel Tines.
Ako po si Roslyn Manubay, kasama ng aking mga kapatid at anak.
I'm Jenny Antabite.
And
We are able.
Thank you, Miss Anna, for sharing that inspiring story of bio. As I've been telling Miss Anna, I mean, as a teenager and until, I transitioned to become a professional, bio is one of my favorite clothing brands here in the Philippines. And I'm very happy to actually hear these types of stories, like of entrepreneurs working with their local artisans, because we really have excellent artisans. And having brands like Bio promote them is really helpful for them also. And not just their livelihoods, but also to also improve their communities as well and their lives as well. So our next speaker is from Philox Inc. We have with us today Ms. Lily Fuentes, Chief Operations Officer. So Ms. Lily, can you join us on stage to share your experience?
Thank you, Grace. And Anna, very inspiring sharing. So good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here, and we'd like to thank you for asking us to be part of the journey of circularity, no? And congratulations, ACEBA. and GCNP for the huge undertaking. It's a huge undertaking, and we're looking forward to the impact that this partnership can bring. So, slide please. Okay. So last year, we marked our 45th year in the business. And as we celebrate this milestone, we recognize that luxury is not just defined by aesthetics, it is defined by responsibility. Next slide. At Philux, luxury is defined by care. Care in our designs, care in our sourcing, and care in how our pieces will last. That is what we mean by conscious luxury, and it is the foundation of our circular economy approach. That foundation is guided by a clear sense of purpose. Next slide. Our vision tree is a visual manifestation of Philux's vision, mission, and purpose. We exist to champion Filipino craftsmanship with a global mindset. Circular economy allows us to grow while staying aligned with our values of quality, family, and growth, and long-term value creation. So as you can see, we have in our vision tree, sustainability and societal impact. These values have been shaped over decades. Next slide. What began as a small family enterprise founded by Max and Zelda Kinley in the photo has grown into a legacy brand built on craftsmanship and discipline. In 45 years, we have evolved our materials, our processes, and our scale without losing our respect for craft. Today, that respect is expressed through circular economy principles. Next slide. Philux has expanded its material options and product line, offering timeless designs in addition to contemporary offerings, all made by highly skilled Filipino artisans practicing age-old techniques in combination with modern technology. Today, Philux is led by the second generation Kinleys. Stephanie Gonzalez at the left is our managing director and president, and Jessica, our vice president and creative director. Next. So we expanded our workshop to support our purpose of sharing our craft with a vast audience. We want to accommodate more contract work, of course, which will give more work to our people, and to also export so that we can share the pride of our Filipino crafts. Next, our sustainability journey starts with the materials we use. Our wood comes from responsibly managed forests and sustainably harvested around the world. Beyond timber and other materials, we are intentional in our designs. In a culture of mass production and disposability, we create pieces that are made to last, meant to be used, loved, and passed on from generation to generation. And this minimizes the waste and honors the resources that went into each piece. Next slide. Sustainability at Philux is not a single initiative. It is embedded across design, production, efficiency, and impact. It gives structure to how we continuously improve across all these areas. This is evident in our showing in Manila Fame last October and in our showrooms. So you can see here a lot of materials that we use, the diversity of what we use. So next slide. Featuring here in the slide our heritage collection. To the left, from the left is our Capilano dining table and the Paris dining chair, and our modern take of the aparador and the butaca chair. We featured this in the Fame last year. Next slide, please. Ash, walnut, mahogany are chosen. These are most of the wood that we use. These are chosen not just for beauty, but for how responsibly they are grown and harvested. When a tree takes generations to grow, waste is not an option. Quality cannot be rushed, and neither can circularity. I've heard, from Vicky, we started talking about this 2005, and then 2013, and then 2014, and then you had a discussion with Vicky in New York. So it's long coming, but this is something that is really necessary. We optimize our plank for maximum use, designing around material reality rather than forcing excess. What remains is carefully collected and set aside for new applications. This discipline allows design to do its real work. Next slide. The Liwa collection shows how circular thinking becomes physical. Wood offcuts are transformed into functional, one-of-a-kind pieces, each with its own character. So this is one of the products that we were able to create from our offcuts. From our wood that we process, 40%, 30% of that are offcuts, and also shavings. So what would normally be discarded, we've started using that and creating this new pieces. So here is our Liwa table lamp. Next slide. Here is also one of, next slide please. One of the products from our offcuts, the Liwa floor lamp. Circularity grows stronger through collaboration. And Anna, like I said, we need to talk. So we work with organizations that share our commitment to responsible design and really like-minded partners, no? And Anna, listening to you this morning, I know we need to sit down, and I can really connect with what you were sharing this morning. So I'm really inspired. We are inspired. So we also partnered with Anthill. They are a weaving fabric organization in Cebu. Fabric scraps are recrafted into distinctive elements that add cultural and material value. This approach extends across our material palette. We also use our excess fabric to create patchworks to foster select pieces, limited pieces that, again, similar to the offcuts, has its own character. Philox fabric, we also created from our scrap fabrics, Philox coasters made of fabric, and tote bags as an alternative to paper bags for our customers, and even holiday socks. Okay, so next slide, please. Materials that still hold beauty and integrity should not be treated as waste. And recrafted fabrics allow us to expand our offerings while staying aligned with circular principles. So you can see here, we've partnered with other organizations to create and design, using our fabrics, table lamp shades. Okay. Next slide. Sustainability is a very important tenet for Philox, and one of our latest initiatives is the upcycling of furniture manufacturing byproducts, such as wood offcuts, into thoughtful and intentional home accessories. Featured here, the next slide, please, is our Liwa candle holders, made of said wood offcuts, a natural byproduct of our creation process. Our long-term focus is to reduce environmental impact through multiple interconnected circular initiatives. Circular economy guides our decisions, not a marketing layer, but an operating mindset similar to bio. And that mindset must evolve with innovation. Next slide. Circular economy must scale beyond traditional materials. We have partnered with River Recycle. We spoke to them, I think, latter part of 2024. But now we are starting to explore using their boards, recycled plastics, made of recycled plastics as part of our furniture framework. I was sharing with Vicky this morning, it is ironic that River Recycle is founded by a CEO from Finland, no? And it's ironic that other countries are more interested in helping us with cleaning our environment. They shared one line, and that was the hook. By 2050, there will be more garbage than fishes in the ocean. Okay, so these numbers are so impactful, and it makes us more understand the urgency of the matter. Dr. Renee mentioned that. It is urgent. Cannot pause. We need to go forward. With River Cycle, we're blending technology with craftsmanship. We expand the circular design that can achieve We also produce coasters using the river recycle board and using our wood together. So it's one of our collaboration. So circular economy is not about perfection. It is about intention and accountability. I like what Dr. Rene said a while ago. Aside from targets, let's plan, pathways towards that, and let's not just be stuck with the targets. It is about designing. So it's about design responsibly on our end, using resources respectfully, and creating pieces that endure. This is how we honor our materials, our makers, and our future. So in the other slides, just some links to our brand and the list of our showrooms. But allow me to close with a quote by our managing director. Next slide. Ms. Stephanie Kinley Gonzalez said, "From the very beginning, championing Filipino craftsmanship has been at the core of Philux. In tandem with our growth and evolution over the years, supporting local remains at the heart of what we do. That belief is where our circular economy journey really begins. When we value craftsmanship, we design with intention and keep skills alive. And when we create pieces meant to last, meant to be repaired, refurbished, and passed on, we move away from waste and towards stewardship. For Philux, circularity is not a program, it is a mindset rooted in people, guided by craft, and built for legacy. We've barely scratched the surface, but we are intentional and we are serious about circularity." Thank you.
Hello. All right. So thank you, Ms. Lily. And again, an inspiring story from Philux. We move on to our panel Q&A to be moderated by Thomas. And we will be joined by, of course, Ms. Anna, Ms. Lily, and here with us also is Ms. Leia Magallanes, the Vice President for Quality and Sustainability of SM Hotels and Conventions Corporation. So may we ask all our panelists to come up front, and also Thomas?
Yeah. So why don't you take a seat there? No, it's good. Okay, I'm going to moderate this session. But Victoria said that it takes 143 years to reach gender equality. Here we have exceeded gender equality. Yes. I think there has been great changes on it. One of my eldest daughter, her favorite color is yellow, because when she was a little 2-year-old, there was a revolution of yellow, the revolution. So you set trends. Now she is much older, but still talks about revolutions, except sometimes it's with her father. Okay. Now, I thank you very much, and I want to welcome Leah. I think it was, you have been juggling again. Ladies have been very good at this. When the Yellow Revolution, people were asking, how could a housewife become a president? And I remember the solution was, my mother said, all housewives are natural things. We can do marketing, we can do finance, we're in charge of education, and we do everything, and we administer the whole thing. So we're naturally born administrators, and this is the example. Thank you very much, and I just also want to highlight that I like some of those words that you all spoke, the two of you. Words like climate change has been a challenge to you. Yeah? Scalability is to reduce costs and also do things. And the research, innovation makes a big difference for you. And also for You have also been very good talking about furniture, fabrics, and you made a new definition of luxury. That's also part of care. And so you start with materials and of wood, and you're looking for collaboration. But you didn't say, I just want any partners. You use the word like-minded. We have here with Lei. I think you should, may I first give you the opportunity to say a little bit of what you do. You can't have 10 minutes, but
wow.
I will
show the PowerPoint. No, just kidding.
But I would recommend everybody read their case in our website. We covered that. Okay. Okay. So what's happening? You can switch the lights at the back. Okay. Okay. Is there any more slides? No. Okay. Leah. They say there's the slides. Put up the slides.
Anyway, so good morning, everyone. My name is Leah Magallanes. I'm the Vice President for Sustainability at SM Hotels. And in 2022, I think the case that was written about us was about our project called Plate for the Planet. And basically, this is about how we were able to close the loop on our food waste. So there it is. There. Okay. But since then, we have created another program that proves a closed loop, a closed loop program with one of our other solid waste, which is condemned linen. Because as you know, in hotels, every 2 to 3 years, we change, diba? We change our towels, we change the rolls, we change the bed sheets and all that. So just imagine, and in hotel parlance, when you say par, right, it's the number of sets that you have in a room. And in a room, you have par 3. So just imagine, every linen that you will see is times 3, times the number of rooms. So it's a lot of responsibility, not to mention banqueting. So you have this, all of this, all of this that we have to think of. In the past, we would donate it. Sometimes it would be used as what do you call this, trapo, to rugs, rugs, no. But a lot of it is also donated. So those are the 2 programs since 2022 that we've developed. Just to talk about Plate for the Planet. So Plate for the Planet from 2022, I think we only started with 2-3 hotels, but now all our hotels are practicing Plate for the Planet, which means green procurement. So Plate for the Planet is not only the food item. It talks about from green procurement, local sourcing, how the chefs handle the food, to be mindful, because we do measure one of their KPIs is pre-production waste. So even that's measured. Post-plate waste is also measured, because if there's too much waste on the plate of the guests, we question the quality, right? The quality and the forecasting, so things like that. Up to, of course, our favorite, composting, and using the compost in our gardens, or sometimes if it's like in a city, our property is in a city, but near some farm, we utilize the farm. And then it goes back to us in terms of the vegetables, herbs, fruits, that we again use in our operations. So that's how it developed from 2022. And I'm happy to say that last year we were awarded in Dubai for this program, Plate for the Planet. Yeah.
Congratulations and thanks.
Thank you.
There's also, I must also compliment you for another. You should be an example of saying so much with so little time.
Part of the training.
Is there any questions online? Has anybody raised any questions online? No. Okay, if there is no questions online, as a believer in democracy and fairness, is there any questions from here? Because otherwise, oh yes, please.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm one of the trustees of GCNP, and wow, congratulations. We're so inspired by what you have shared this morning. So I'd like to ask a question from a perspective of a consumer and a shopper. High cost, of course, results to high pricing. And is that a challenge that you have, and this is addressed to anyone, is that a challenge that you have right now, and how do you overcome it? How do you promote the product, or are you specifically targeting the high-end market?
It's applicable for all of you.
Yeah, in the perspective of the fashion industry, what we did to manage our cost, because we cannot just put out a price tag that is so far from how much we are selling. So what we did was we optimized our resources. So, for example, we saved on the expense on plastic, like the single-use plastics. Since we didn't want to purchase a lot of that because of the impact, we decided to use reusable containers to deliver to our stores. And it saved us a regular expense of about $1 million a year. And the recyclable plastic containers was, at the time that we purchased in bulk, about 700,000 pesos. So we don't have the 1 million expense anymore. And so that will help us manage the cost. And so we also gave up our billboard for marketing and used that to pay in addition to the high cost of fabric, because more sustainable fabrics are more expensive. So we try to audit which expenses could be sacrificed so that it can help us at least manage the cost for our consumers to slowly accept like how we increase the prices, but not exactly burden them with that increase.
Thanks. You reinforce the point made that circularity can reduce costs.
For Philox, we cater to the niche market. So yes, high end. And supply chain is also challenging for us. We import our wood. Unfortunately, there is not a sustainable source of wood here in the Philippines. So we import our wood, but we do try our best to manage and have a very good working relationship with our suppliers so that we don't increase our costs. Again, similar to bio, we also revisit our practices, even in our packaging, reducing our plastics and using reusable cartons instead. But again, we're moving slowly because it's also expensive. And not all our furniture can be placed in a carton. Beds, for example, huge sofas cannot be placed in a carton. But we try to reduce as much as possible our costs so that we still be able to offer our products not only to the high-end market, but also to the ones that would really want a piece, because our furniture is really built for legacy. Like I mentioned, we refurbish, we repair. It's not to be thrown away. Thank you.
Actually, as both ladies mentioned, it's really managing the other expenses to be able to bring out that product, right? And at the price that our customers want. With the hotel group, we talk about, let's say, food, right? Because that's our biggest waste, and that's what Plate for the Planet is all about. So, as like in any big company, you have, when you get a program approved, you have to show where it's going to make money or cut some costs, right? And so for Plate for the Planet, we were able to save money because of food costs, because we were buying straight from our local farmers, or even better yet, free from our gardens. Like if you go to Taal Vista, we expanded the garden there, and the salad in our buffet comes from the garden, the lettuce. And there's a cycle. They're very good about doing the cycle so that more or less it can supply one outlet in the hotel. So it's a lot of I think to be able to, because we're price sensitive, right? Food, you cannot overprice yourself. So to be able to do that, we have to look at the expenses and manage it. So with this project, we've saved about maybe, because we started 2018, right? So we have our savings from the food itself because we either get it free or direct from the farmer, which is 20% less because you don't pay the middleman. And then also on the pickup of the garbage, because we have a very strong composting culture in all our hotels. They know that they have to compost. In Taal Vista, we have a big biodigester because we have called the Orca. So in 24 hours, the food waste becomes, pulp, no? And so we're looking at other technologies to do that. So in total, I think last year when I reported it, savings from the food costs, savings from hauling, we saved nearly, from 2019, about 20 million pesos. So just imagine that. Oh, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there any other question? Anybody want to raise any point? If not, I will start things. I want to, sorry? Yes.
Hello, good morning, everyone. I'm Ben Secretario, and I'm from the Global Compact Network Philippines. One of the many things that are being raised about circular economy is price perception, premium price perception. It says that it's sustainable and yet it's costly to produce. But on the other hand, there is savings because the materials are available and it will just be repurposed for another raw materials. So how do you put together this opposing mindset when it comes to the market acceptance on price perception at the same time on the cost that it can generate or lower?
In essence, what you're saying is there's a perception that circular economy being things is increased cost and therefore people should pay more. But in reality, is it happening and how do you manage the perception? Because the perception may not help the message. But I'll let the ladies answer and then I will ask this professor here to give his professorial input into this very profound question, which you used to ask your professors, I think. Now, why don't you start?
Well, I cannot say that in general it's more expensive because it's sustainable, circular, and all that. When we do cost our products where we use offcuts, we consider the cheaper price, not how we actually purchased for the plant, no? So we adjust our prices based on that. So I don't think it's that much applicable for Philux per se, but we do consider the cost lower, not higher.
Okay, so when we upcycle, the first thing that one of the guidelines I told all the properties is that it needs to be a beautiful item. Okay, it cannot be, as we would say, or my favorite term, product where you can command a price for it because it's quality. It's not something that you're going to buy because you just, for the sake of buying, it's coveted. And I think Anne will explain that more, like especially with clothes. It has to be beautifully designed. And when we price it, we're very transparent. You know, when we sit down with the community, we sit down with the designer, and with us, the one who's ordering it. We all sit down and we agree, okay, how much are you going to charge? Let's say the community, how much? Because in our minds, it has to be more than the minimum. They have to earn minimum wage, right? At the very least. So that's very clear. And then when the designer comes in, if she's selling it, how much are you going to charge? It cannot be like ×4 of what they're earning, right? It has to be equitable. And also when we sell, well, we hardly put anything because we're but that's how we do it. It's transparency. And And I think the most important thing is to communicate it to your guests or to your clients. Why is it priced that way? And actually, when the design is nice and the story behind it, they don't question I don't think they question the pricing anymore.
Yeah, for us in retail, customer is really what shapes us, our decisions. But because of sustainability through circular economy, we realize that perhaps the customers are not well informed. So decisions are not made in the way that we wanted to shape the world, pang Miss Universe. But, it's really rooted in our hearts in bio to make sure that what we talk about is not something that is really just about selling clothes. But what lies beneath is the relationship that we build with our customers. So to start them realizing that circular economy is actually good, sustainability is a kind culture, so it feels good to be part of it. We presented 2 business models. We converted one of our bio stores to an atelier where we can bring in our community-made materials. People have a choice whether to go there. It's more pricey. Everything is hand-woven. Natural dyes are being used. And then you can go to our other store. We produce our clothes in a sustainable, more responsible way. 2 options, depending on the market, but at the end of the day, they get to decide. It's the same process. You buy more expensive in the atelier because it's personalized. Only a few pieces, mostly just 1 piece per design. They pay what, 10 times the price, and they're willing to do that because it is an investment piece that we create for them. But we have bio main stores. We also have other brands. We have Unica and vice versa, and all our production process are the same. Everything is sustainably made in the process, managing materials and all that. So we tell those stories, but not like marketing it. In our feed, you wouldn't see it every day.
Thanks. It's a good question, and the answer is the price is what people are willing to pay. And they want to make it worthwhile because you're in a business, you must be profitable. If it's not profitable, you can't exist. So the point also brought is that to make them understand, there's also a question of educating and informing the consumer. So that's one. And also in your procurement, you try to get it. Normally, the traditional procurement people, they just go for 3 things. They say they want to be cheap, fast, and good. I think in real life, you can't have all 3. Yeah? If it's cheap and fast, it cannot be good. If it's good and fast, it cannot be cheap. So you have to weigh a balance, and I think that's what you are saying, that you have to be fair. You can't squeeze them until people cannot exist. You can squeeze them. Huh? And I think one of the biggest challenge for procurement in the sustainability field is there are people who talks about sustainability, go and ask you whether it's all sustainability. Then you have another procurement guy who goes there and just wants it cheap. So I think it's just a balance educating. So I will put aside my questions that I have for you all and ask the professor to round up and also maybe close, and with Victoria, we can have the closing remarks. Sorry, I exceeded a little bit of my time.
Yeah, I think on this cost and price, and I think these are basically different concepts, isn't it? The cost is what you do, and if you use an offcut, basically the material cost has already been paid. The material cost has been paid because you make a sofa first, and then you have a piece left over, which basically has a negative cost once you start to make a lamp. So that, isn't it? Because you avoid the disposal cost in that sense. So that's theoretically, but I think in practice it also works that way. And indeed, the price is not just what is the cost price, but it's what the willingness is to pay. Look at our smartphones, our iPhone. It's one high-end one is about $1,000. The value of it is about $700. So we are willing to pay $300 for just having an iPhone. And similarly, I think you're all trying to give a unique customer experience for which people are willing to pay, and that opportunity could be exploited. So don't necessarily mix up these issues of cost and price, because they're really different items. Of course, they are related, but we can't translate immediately that back and forth. But I would also like to echo what Thomas is saying, really inspirational stories, and highlighting also that there is opportunities to move forward. And I continue to say in many of the engagements, we need to we can't change everything at one time. So let's focus on some markets, some niches where we can start moving, and then the scale will come, as you were saying, what you were saying on the scaling up the textile waste, recycling. So we can be an agent of change, and I've really liked that from all three of you, that you try to say we can embrace circularity, we can create value, we can create value also around Filipino values, crafts and designs, which are very good. So thank you very much for that, for your contribution. So I think we come close to wrapping up. So Vicky, would you like to say a few words? As a you always like to say something, isn't it? I know that.
Thank you. We have been sitting in this room for the last 2 hours, but I would like to tell everyone that this one is really a fascinating event. This is the start of a good partnership. Circularity is something that we should be doing. On the personal note, I'm doing that at home. It took me 2 or 3 years to make my home zero waste. Because of the pandemic, mommy is in the house, so mommy can check what everyone is doing, starting from the food waste. So I know that if you cook so much, the rule is we have to finish it. If we cook so much, so we have to eat it in the following day, until it's gone. Okay, that's the first one. And then we started looking at all types of waste that we are generating at home. We put little bins. So my children, they know that when they bring down their waste or their garbage, it's already segregated. I didn't stop there. What I did was I asked someone to pick it up, because if I will just rely on the, our basureros or from the LGUs, they get everything whether it is segregated or not. So it defeats the purpose. So I'm now engaged with, I have engaged Green Trident to pick it up every month. My neighbor said, "Are you selling your waste?" Oh, on the contrary, I'm the one paying Green Trident 250 pesos per month to pick up all my waste. So the only waste that I have to put in the landfill, which you said, or Thomas said, is 90% of the capacity, are just the waste that I really cannot segregate or recycle anymore. I have started the food waste composting, bokashi composting. So the first time it was done, my husband said, "It smells." Yes, that's true. But since I put that in the garden in Giginto, and now he started using it for his plants, and he said, "Oh, that's good. The plants are healthy." And so, this kind of thing. But what I say, there are challenges. Not everyone would be able to do it, because number one, it requires infrastructure. Little beans, I call them infrastructure, because it will train your mind and your eyes how to do it at home. But it can be done. I think that's the message. And I'm so excited because I know that circularity will address also our issues of climate change. They said in one of the literature that I have read that if we move to the circular economy, we can meet the net zero target one decade early. So that means 2050 to 2040, 2050 to 2040, and that's I want to see that happening just in case, and that will limit our global warming. It will help us really. I don't want our children, our grandchildren to live in a hotter planet. I think what we want is a better planet for them. But because of our consumption, we need also to regulate how we consume things and give nature the time to regenerate. As what Dr. Rene mentioned, we have to learn from nature because nature knows no waste, right? And nature, there is that cycle, everything can be used and can be part of that life cycle. On that note, I would like to close, if I may, or you want to close it. Thank you so much for attending this very important event. This is a partnership that will not just stay in the hotels or in the workplace, but what we need to do is to go out there in the community and help them understand that they have a role in circularity, that this is a shared responsibility, this is a shared vision, and we are doing this for the only planet that we have. Thank you so much, and let's start working.
Thank you, Miss Vicky. And thank you again for joining us in person and online. Again, please visit the ACEBA website for upcoming events, trainings, and knowledge products. Again, I'm Grace Santos, and a pleasant noon to all. Happy lunch, everyone. Congratulations again to ACEBA and to GCNP. May we ask our participants to for a photo op? So.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. It's great to hear that finally we see this on paper and then now it's much nicer. It's a lived story. Same to you. Lived story. And it's our pleasure. Yes. Great storytelling. Yes. So we need to do this together with Dr. Oh, photo. How we call the next time? Yes. Yeah. Oh, we need to do photo first.
Hai bạn và bạn đi mơn trẻ cắm rồi mình rất nhầm trẻ cắm là sao khi cần ao chứ còn học tới mình trai từ của mình tới và là phần này ba má này xem ăn trẻ cắm tí bấy bây giờ mình đi tới và